Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having another good day, you guys. So today we're going to be switching things up a little bit. I haven't done one of these in a minute. I haven't had a top mod video in a long time on the channel. I think it's been like 2 years almost. Truck's right outside in the garage, or outside the garage. Today's weather is shot. It is horrible, you guys. It's on and off raining. It wasn't raining 30 seconds ago, and I was gonna film outside, and it started raining, so I had to come in the garage. So that's why I'm in here. But you guys, it's been a while since we had a top mod video on here. So I think today is a good day to bring a video to the channel talking about that stuff. It's been a long time, and I always get questions on Instagram. You guys hit me up asking questions, you know, whether you just got a Cummins, or, you know, you just got a 6.7, a 5.9, what should I do? You know, or if you just been owning one for a while and haven't done anything with it because you don't know where to go, where to start at, or what order you should take about. That's another common question I get asked. So today's video, I'm going to be going over the top 10 mods you can do for your 6.7 Cummins. Now, this is mainly going to apply for you if you own a 6.7 Cummins, so a 2007.5 and newer. If you own the 3rd gen 5.9 24 valve, it's, you know, a good bit of these mods can apply to you as well. Actually, I think about 70% of them could apply to you. So, you know, it doesn't hurt. It don't hurt to listen, and you know, maybe you'll learn something in this video. So, first thing off the bat, number 10. Now, I got it in ordered number from 10 to 1. 10 being, in my opinion, least most important, but it's still a good upgrade, to number 1, which is the utmost important. Okay. Now, this is my personal opinion in the ordering of it. You might disagree with it, so be it. It's all good. Okay. Number 10 we're gonna have is a intercooler. Okay. So these trucks come with a stock intercooler. Believe it or not, a stock intercooler on these 6.7 Cummins actually is not all that bad. I've heard people running 800 horsepower easily with a stock intercooler. But the more air, the better usually. So it does not hurt to upgrade your intercooler. Air mods is one of those things where your truck will thank you for it. And in return, I mean, you're talking quicker acceleration, better fuel economy, because you're pushing more cold air into your engine, which means it's going to combust a lot cooler, which means it's going to have lower, you potentially can have lower EGTs. So an intercooler is always a good mod. Some of you know, some of you might not know, I do have an upgraded intercooler. I have a Mishimoto 3.5-inch intercooler with the 3.5-inch boost pipes. Long time ago, I made a video when I installed it when the channel first started. The size difference it's very noticeable compared to a stock intercooler. I did notice I got about an extra mile per gallon out of fuel, like fuel mileage went up about 1 mile per gallon, and it felt a little better driving it. So intercoolers is always a good mod you can do. They used to be expensive. I mean, they still kind of are. You used to be able to have to pay like $1,200 for one, but right now I'm pretty sure you can get them for like $600-700. Number 9 is going to be gauges and monitoring. Okay, so it's at number 9, but this is actually a very important one. It's just because this is the way I ordered it. Gauges and monitoring is one of those things where you need to monitor your truck. Not only if you're running high horsepower applications, or you're doing sled pulling, or something abnormal, but if you are an everyday diesel truck owner, gauges is a very crucial and important parameters and something to have on your truck. Being able to see on these trucks, okay, when things are going wrong with the fuel system, oil, coolant system, when things are going wrong, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna know what's going wrong. Okay, it's not gonna just go wrong like on the fly and then just kill itself. It will do that sometimes, but most of the time there's signs to it. So for example, if you have a fuel pressure gauge and you notice that your fuel pressure on a stock OEM fuel pump is around 10, maybe 15 psi, and you're noticing that your fuel pump now is at like 6-7 psi, that is a prime indication that something is not right in your fuel system. Whether your fuel pump's getting weak, or maybe something's up with your return system, something's going on wrong. So that is a prime way to prevent you from being stranded and down the road. Okay, same thing with your transmission. Transmission temps are running hot. You know, you're creeping into the 200 degrees Fahrenheit club. You know, something's up. Something's not right. Something's definitely not right there. If you don't have gauges, you have no way to really tell that. Now, if you have a newer 6.7, you know, 4th gens and later on and stuff, you can see certain temps like that via the PIDs, but it's always good to just have one solid whether it's a monitor or several gauges. You guys know I have both. I have the Edge CTS2 and I have glow shift gauges. Both work very good. CTS3 is actually really fast. It's kind of cool. All right, so gauges. After that, number 8, we got head studs. I got all this on my phone too, so if I keep looking down, that's why. Number 8 is gonna be head studs. Okay, now here's the thing with head studs. Head studs is an insurance mod. Okay, it's an insurance that you will feel good driving your truck knowing that the chances of you blowing a head gasket are going to be dramatically decreased. Okay, there's a very common myth out there where people think because you have head studs that you cannot blow a head gasket, and that is far from the truth. If you have the right amount of drive pressure in your cylinder walls, you can still lift that head up. Okay, it's just that head studs has a way better clamping force versus head bolts, which is bolt down. The clamping force that is created from head studs, it has a higher yield to hold in place under high boost loads or high drive pressure inside your engine, right? So head studs is always a good mod. The Cummins engine, I'm gonna be real, it's not known for blowing head gaskets. It's not like a 6.0 Power Stroke where it's notorious for blowing them. But Cummins do blow the head gaskets. That is a thing. All vehicles and diesel trucks blow head gaskets. Duramaxes, Cummins, Power Strokes, they all blow them. It's just a matter of your application, what you're doing, and just luck of the draw, really. So head studs is a very good mod to get. Number 7. All right, I threw this in there because I was just kind of like trying to think of something, but we got cold air intake. Okay, so here's the deal. Your stock airbox on these trucks, they're actually not that bad, especially if you're with a stock application. Okay, you can get about, I read about it, did testing on it, you can get about 500 to 550 horsepower utilizing your stock airbox. Okay, once you go past that, then that's when you would want to look into a cold air intake. But anyways, cold air intake is always a good mod to go with. That's like high school, like one of the first things you probably learned or thought about doing whenever you got a vehicle. You're like, oh, I want to swap out the air filter, so you get a cool red, blue air filter. You're like, oh, it just feels good. Okay, there are several brands out there that are good. I used to have the SMB cold air intake before I did my second gen swap with my stock HE351 turbo. Worked perfectly fine, no issues with it. Cold air intake is always a good mod to get done. After that, number 6. Now, I put this at number 6 because everything after number 6 to me is not more important, but it deserves to be higher in that aspect, if that makes sense. You guys will see where I'm coming from in a second. Number 6 is maintenance upgrades. Okay, now this one is a very, very crucial one. Okay, now what I mean by maintenance upgrades, meaning when you're maintaining your truck, doing scheduled maintenance, you need to be putting the best stuff into your truck. Okay, we all spend a lot of money just to own these trucks, period. Regardless of mods, we spend good money to own these trucks and to drive them, work them, and do it. Okay, for a lot of you out there, your truck makes you money. Okay, so what that means is your maintenance needs to be on point. Okay, and I'm not just talking about your basic oil change. Okay, I'm talking about oil change, transmission fluid, front diff, rear diff, transfer case, okay, brake fluid, all these coolant, all of these are super neglected maintenance items that get neglected by tons of truck owners all the time. You don't ever hear people talking about when's the last time you changed the diff fluid, or when's the last time you changed the training fluid or something. Like, that's just not normal talk, but it needs to be, because those components are just as vital as the oil in your engine. So I cannot stress that enough. All right, I'm just a firm believer. You can call it superstitious, old school, whatever. I'm a firm believer, if you put top-notch quality products in your vehicle, you're gonna get that back in return. You know what I'm saying? Every fill up, I add some sort of diesel additive. Okay, usually I add AMSOIL's all-in-one diesel additive when I fill up. Every now and then I'll dabble with Hot Shot Secret. But every fill up I have a diesel additive in my truck. Why? Because diesel fuel in today's world is super quote-unquote dry. It does not have the lubricity characteristics in it like it did 15, 20 years ago, where cats were getting 25, 30 miles a gallon in their diesel vehicles. So maintenance is a very, very big thing, which is why I only run AMSOIL products on my truck. Everything on my truck is AMSOIL. Gear oil, transmission fluid, motor oil, coolant, everything. I actually have more products over here because I'm going to be doing an oil change and coolant flush soon here in a little bit. But yes, maintenance. I cannot stress it enough. People ask me all the time, is the AMSOIL really worth it, or anything like that. And I'm like, yes, it's 100% worth it. There's been tons of studies, not only from AMSOIL, but from other companies comparing oils, and AMSOIL always comes in first place, always. So that's just my take on it, but I cannot stress that enough. All right, number 5, we got a lift pump, okay? A lift pump is always a good investment mod to do to your truck. Whether you have a stock truck that you use for work every day, you tow skid steers, you're using your truck to make money and feed your family. A lift pump is a very good mod to invest in, not only because you're going to protect your fuel system, but because you get that ease of changing your fuel filters by just going there to the pump, spinning off the filters, putting the new ones on, and you're ready to rock and roll. Not to mention the water separation characteristics. For my hot shotters out there, I know y'all probably could tell at least one story where you had to stop at a sketchy gas station to get diesel fuel, and it probably wasn't the best fuel in the world. Just having that added assurance that your pump's going to take care of your truck is a very big deal. So I'll put it in perspective like this, okay? Let's say your average lift pump's going to cost about $600, $700, okay? So that's a $700 investment. Let's say you have a stock fuel pump. Somehow, some way, water gets into your entire fuel system, wipes out your CP3, injectors got to get taken out, disassembled, cleaned, checked, all that stuff, okay? You're looking at several $1,000s. And when I say several thousand, I'm not talking about $1,000 or $2,000. I'm talking about like $5,000 and plus. Reman Bosch injectors for these trucks alone, you're looking at about $2,000, $2,500, depending on where you go to. And that's just fuel injection. Fuel injector, sorry. Injection pump, okay? Injection pump's gonna run anywhere from $600 and up, depending on who you go through. If you buy a Reman one or a brand new one, especially if you buy a Bosch one, which if you should only want to run Bosch fuel system components on these trucks because that's what they came with from the factory. Cummins, that's what they want in their engines. So by having a lift pump, not only are you going to get that added protection, but it actually does give you some benefits and aspects of, you can see an increase in fuel mileage. You might see a better throttle response. I know when I installed my AirDog like 2 years ago, when I first put it on when I was driving down the road, I didn't really notice nothing. But then when I went ahead and like gave it some throttle, when I hit the pedal the first time, I noticed something, and it was really good. It was really good. People always ask me about AirDog or Fast. I never ran a Fast, so I can't tell you about Fast, but what I can tell you about AirDog, because that's what I have, is that I love it. Their customer service is beyond what it needs to be. It's so good. I run an AirDog. I'm not sponsored by them. I paid for my lift pump 2 years ago, but I've interacted with them. They've helped me out when I had issues last year with the pump, and they have A1 service. So that's my experience with the lift pump. Oh, my phone freaking went silent. All right, number 4. So number 4 is going to be a CCV Delete, okay, crankcase ventilation delete system. So if you have a 6.7 Cummins or even a 5.9, if you have a 6.7 Cummins and you have the stock HE351 turbo, okay, I have videos for all this. Everything I mentioned so far I have videos on. So if you're looking at the top of your valve cover and you look to the left side of it where the passenger side is, there's going to be a little port coming out of there. That port runs to your turbo if you have a stock HE351 turbo. That fitting and that line that runs to the turbo, that needs to get removed. They sell eBay, Amazon, Google. They sell CCV deletes for these trucks all day. They're actually relatively inexpensive. You can get a whole kit for about $25 on Amazon. Why that is important is because what's essentially happening is diesel truck, at least on the Cummins, they're negative crankcase systems. What does that mean is that they don't require suction they don't require vacuum. We don't need vacuum. It doesn't require it, okay? It's a negative system. It's not like a gas engine where it's a positive crankcase system and it requires the connection of a PCV valve and suction in order for it to operate correctly and for it to remove its gases, okay? So what that means is on a diesel, because it's negative, we don't need that suction. We can remove that line, put a little filter on there, and then plug the side on the turbo. What that does is it keeps all those crank fumes and gases from going into your turbo, because when you look at it, you're going to notice that it connects right to the front of that HE, or the front or the side of the HE351 turbo. And all it is those crank fumes and sludge and grease and crap is going into your turbo. I've seen some nasty HE351s with the cover off of it, and it can get pretty reckless. So CCV Delete is a very cheap reliability mod in terms of saving your turbo. I have a video, tons of YouTubers have videos on how to do a CCV Delete on the 6.7 Cummins. It's not hard at all. It takes maybe about 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes at the max. So definitely CCV Delete. All right, we're going to the top three now. The top three, these top three to me, I don't care. Y'all can argue it, but in my opinion, this is it. Okay. So number three, we have the 68 RFE upgraded valve body gasket. Okay. So first thing off the bat, it's 2020. It's not 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. The 68 RFE transmission has came leaps and bounds from where it was when it came out in 2007 and a half. That is a myth right now where people say the 68 RFE is a garbage transmission. Myself, and I know a lot of people who drive these trucks every day, would use them for work, haul, every now and then they decide to turn up, and their 68 RFE is still holding up fine on it, okay? Usually where the 68 RFE fails at is the owner. The owner not understanding its limits, its capabilities, and they got into the truck thinking that because it's a diesel and it has a Cummins, it's bulletproof for some reason, which is far from the truth. So 68 RFE valve body gasket upgrade is a very good upgrade. What it does essentially, and I did this on this truck too, what it's doing essentially is in the valve body, you have the valve body halves, it's like a sandwich, and in the middle you have a separator plate. That separator plate, it keeps what's called cross leaks. So when you take your valve body apart, there's going to be a bunch of channel passages in it. And what that does is that gasket is going to keep cross leaks from occurring, and also allow you to run a higher line pressure. Okay, if there's a top three weaknesses of the 68, one of them is going to be the valve body gasket, along with the overdrive drum. Okay, that's another one. The valve body gasket, it will prolong your 68 longer than what you would expect. Put it like that. It's going to drive better. It's going to shift better. It's going to feel the way it should have felt when it came from the factory back when it was on the dealership. Put it like that. So by having a valve body upgraded gasket, you will be able to run a higher line pressure. So for me right now, you will need tuning in order to do that too, by the way. I'm like on my truck right now, I'm running it at 200 PSI line pressure. The plate I have is an ATS separator plate. ATS says I can run it up to 275, but the max my mini max can do is 250. And then plus doing research, after a while I figured out that the OEM oil pump on the 68 RFE, the max it can supply that's sufficient oil pressure is 200 PSI. Once you start going past 200 PSI, that's kind of like the stock pump cannot handle that. It doesn't know how to generate that. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's a highly recommended mod. I'm telling you guys, if you have a 68 RFE transmission and you do not have an upgraded valve body, whether you upgrade the entire valve body to like a D&J, RevMax, Suncoast, whatever, with the billet channel plate, I highly recommend that gasket. That gasket is a very good mod. Okay. Next, number two. Nobody wants to talk about this today because it's 2020, but I will because I don't care. Deletes, EGR, DPF delete with custom tuning. Okay, that's the key word, is custom tuning. All right, that is an extremely important thing for these trucks. I don't care. You can call it, you can say it like you want to say it, but I'm gonna say it like this. I applaud and I take my hat off to the people who are making emissions intact tuning and who are coming with breakthroughs and stuff like that. But there's no way I can be told or believe that a tuned emissions intact truck is going to last longer and run better than a deleted diesel. I'm sorry, I just can't believe it. The concept, the ideology behind it, it just screams bad things. You're essentially farting, taking in your fart and letting it run through your body again. When I did my delete on my truck at 120,000 miles, I took apart all the stuff and it was just caked up with soot everywhere. Intake manifold, EGR valve, EGR, well not EGR cooler, but it was just soot. Actually, yeah, it was some soot in the EGR cooler. It was gross. It was nasty. When you take off your intake manifold on these 6.7 Cummins, and if it was not deleted, you're gonna notice there's a bunch of soot all inside of the, I think they call it the intake plenum, pretty much where the manifold connects to the side of the block to go into the cylinder walls. All in there is covered, it's just a layer of soot everywhere. Had you not had an EGR valve and then, you know, all that emission stuff, you wouldn't have had all that nasty stuff in there. So deletes and custom tuning. Now the reason why I say custom tuning is because too many times do people get box tuning but not get it from a reliable source. There's nothing wrong with box tuning, meaning that you just take it out of the box, plug it up and tune it. But custom tuning is truly a good thing for your truck. And it doesn't matter if you have a basic truck with a couple mods done to it or if you have a souped up truck. Custom tuning is very good because you get your truck dialed in exactly the way it's set up, okay? These tuners out here are pretty good at what they do. They can pull a lot of good stuff out of these trucks if you tell them everything done to it. I can testify that custom tuning is definitely something you would want to look into. In terms of who to go to, there's tons of people out there. You just got to do your research. You'll figure it out. Same thing with tuners to use. Biggest ones, EFI Live, Easy Link, and the Race Me Ultra tuner. Those three are going to be the best options you have for these trucks here. And we're at number one. Number one. I already hit on it a little bit, but I didn't. Transmission tuning, okay? So this is going to be the number one mod for 6.7 Cummins. Is going to be custom transmission. Take my hat off. It's starting to get humid out here. It's going to be custom transmission tuning, okay? You guys, when I bought this truck, and I'm gonna tell you a little story. When I bought this truck, I came from a 6.0 Power Stroke. When I bought this 2008 Dodge Ram 6.7, it was stock. Everything was stock. Emissions, everything, bone stock. Only thing it had was a little edge tuner for emissions intact. It was so slow. It was slow. It was laggy. I mean, I got into this truck and I was like, what? Like, why does it feel like this? Like my 6.0 Power Stroke drove leaps and bounds beyond better than this truck did when I first bought it. I don't think you guys understand. And if you had a stock truck and deleted it and stuff, you know where I'm coming from. But even after I deleted it, well, actually, rewind. So, and it felt weird. It felt weird. Everything was weird. It shifted. The shifts were laggy. It just felt weird, like weak. And when I deleted my truck, I deleted it with the H&S Mini Max. And when I did that, I opted in for the H&S Trans Unlock tuning for the 68 RFE. What that did was it changed some of my shift points and my lockup. When my torque converter locks up at, it still locks up in 4th and 5th, and then tow haul mode, 3rd, and all that stuff. It changed when it locked up at, but the biggest thing was it bumped the line pressure up in the transmission, and you're talking waking up the truck. The shifts were so crisp, they were so phenomenal, and I'm gonna be real with you. I bought my truck with 121,000 miles on it. It currently has like 178,000 miles on it. I've ran 37s on stock gears. I've ran it on Tune 5, the hot tune, as for the entirety of that I own the truck. That's even now with EFI Live. I've done a lot of stuff to this truck. Like I'm not saying I beat the crap out of it, but I wanted to see what this truck was made of, and somehow this truck is still here. The trans is still there. The same transmission I've had. I'm a firm believer that trans tuning was one of the big contributing factors in terms of how and why my transmission is still going the way it goes now. Which today, it drives great. There's no issues with it. You know, a lot of if you ever wonder, well, you did all these other mods, but why didn't you upgrade the trans first? It's because it's not broke. It's not. It drives fine. If it ain't broke, I'm not gonna go drop 8 G's on a built trans if this one's still kicking it. You know what I'm saying? Might as well get the max life out of this one first before I go that route. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. You guys, hopefully, these points I brought up, they help you out. If you just got into a 6.7 Cummins or even a 5.9, because a lot of these apply to a 5.9 as well. Hopefully this stuff helped you out, you guys. If there's something, the biggest things to take away from this video: trans tuning, deletes and tunes, valve body separator plate. Okay, all the other things are obviously good mods, but those top 3 things, you definitely want to do that to your truck. Your truck's gonna thank you. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna get a lot of life out of your truck by doing those 3 things, you guys. I can't stress that enough. I'm not being paid to say that by anybody. I'm just going off of my experience, seriously. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Is there something else I missed that's a good mod to do? I would love to hear your opinions. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. I figured this would be a good video to make until we get the compressor covers back from powder coat. That way we can slap the compound turbos on and go from there. So thank you guys for checking out the channel. Until next time, you guys take it easy, be safe, peace out, have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all soon.